In this video, we will discuss about the spherical refracting surface and how this refraction occurs on a spherical refracting surface. So, as already you know that a plane surface through which how the refraction occurs to the plane surface, that already you know that. And in this section, we will discuss how the refraction occurs to the spherical surface. So first is what is the spherical refracting surface? A refracting surface which forms a part of the refracting surface which forms a part of a sphere of transparent material, which forms a sphere of transparent material, and the surface may be, the case is that suppose there is a refracting, transparent refracting medium, a transparent refracting medium like a glass medium is there, and there is another medium air. For refraction occur, there are two media which are separated by a boundary, and the boundary or the interface of the two media, if it is plane, then you already know how the refraction occurs. You draw a normal, there is an incident ray, if it enters from rarer to denser, then it bends toward the normal. But here it is spherical refracting surface, means this surface is not a plane surface, it is a spherical. Spherical means you can say it may be convex or concave. It may be convex or concave. That can be known by observing from rarer side. By observing from rarer side means that is your air medium. If you see from this side, if the surface looks you or the surface appears convex, then we can say it is a convex refracting surface. If the surface appears concave, then it is called as a concave refracting surface. So accordingly, in the spherical refracting surface, we will come across two. One is the convex refracting surface, and the next case is the concave refracting surface. We will discuss about these two. One is convex and the other is the concave refracting surface. Now you come to, so suppose this is the air medium, this is a glass medium, and this is the boundary, and in this boundary appears convex like this. It is convex from rarer medium because the air is the rarer and this is the denser medium. So from the rarer side, if the surface appears convex, then it is called the convex refracting surface, and from this side, if it appears concave, then it is called the concave refracting surface. So always remember, if the surface is convex from the rarer medium, if you see from the denser side, it looks your what? It is a concave. But always remember, when you find the spherical refracting case, the surface is determined whether it is convex or concave. That depends on the which side, from the rarer side. So if you see from the rarer side, this is the air medium and the whole medium is the denser, and it is continuous like that. It is a denser medium, you can show like that. This is your glass or the denser medium, it continues. Okay. So this is a convex refracting surface. If you show for a concave refracting surface, the surface is drawn like this. That is the concave. This is your concave refracting surface. Clear? So this surface is your concave refracting surface because it appears concave from the rarer side. Clear? So this is about the convex refracting surface and concave refracting surface. Then again we will discuss about convex refracting surface, how the image is formed, where the object is placed. Maybe it is in the rarer, or object is denser, or the in concave, the object is in the error or the object is tensor. The image may be real, the image may be virtual. There are 6 cases are there. We will discuss one by one. So now consider again when you go to this type in convex and concave refracting surface, as you already know that. Let me draw this is a convex refracting surface like that. We will show this is a convex refracting surface. This is your air medium or you can say error, and this is your tensor. And a concave refracting surface you can show like this. This is a concave refracting surface. This is your air medium and this is your glass medium. So the tensor medium is here is the tensor. You can say generally glass, a refractive medium, and this is suppose your air medium. And this is your air, this is your error, and this is your tensor. Okay? So this is a convex refracting surface. This is a concave refracting surface. We will discuss these two, and in these two there are different cases are there. There are 6 cases. We will discuss one by one. The other thing is that in the refraction, when we discuss about this refraction, there are some terms related to this one. One is already know what is the pole of this refracting surface. It is the middle point. This is called as the pole. Here also, this one is called as the pole. Pole of the spherical refracting surface. That is the middle point. That is for a convex or a concave. And the next one is the aperture. What is this aperture? We can say this is the effective diameter which is exposed. The effective diameter which is exposed to the incident light. The effective diameter which is exposed to the incident light. So these are called as your aperture. Aperture, and this one is called as your effective diameter aperture. Aperture. Then the other one is the center of curvature. What is the center of curvature? As you know, the spherical refracting surface is a part of a large sphere. So it is a part of a large sphere. This is a large sphere. The center of that sphere of which the surface is a part. That center, this is called as your center of curvature. C is called as your center of curvature. Center of curvature. Center of curvature. And here also, this is a sphere. This is a large sphere. This part is a this refracting surface is a part of a large sphere, and this is the center of that sphere. That point is called the center of curvature. This is called as the center of curvature of the concave refracting surface. This one is called as the center of curvature of the convex refracting surface. Right? Then radius of curvature. What is the radius of curvature? You can say the line or the radius of that sphere. The radius of that sphere of which the refracting surface is a part. So this is your radius of curvature R. Here also, this one is the radius of curvature R. For concave, this is R, and this is your R for convex. Clear? So it is the radius of that sphere. Or you can say the line joining the pole to the center of curvature. That is the radius of curvature. Pole to the center of curvature. That is also the radius. Means it is the radius of that sphere of which the refracting surface is a part. Okay. So these are the definitions what you already know, and these are the definitions we will use in the spherical when we discuss about the refraction to a spherical surface. Here, then the other part is the again I am repeating the sign convention. This is the most important in optics. Without the sign convention, we cannot use the formula, or you cannot use the object distance, image distance, and the radius of curvature and the focal length. So the sign convention is what? As I already told that in the reflection on the spherical surfaces, the same sign convention we will use here. The thing is that all the distances should be measured from the pole. That is the number one. All the distances should measure from the pole, and if the distance is measured along the direction of light incident, then it is positive. If the distance is measured opposite to the direction of light incident, then it is negative. Number 2. Next, number 3 is that if the distance, the transverse distance measured above the principal axis. What is the principal axis? The line joining the pole and center of curvature. That is the principal axis. If the transverse distance measured above the principal axis, that is positive. Below the principal axis, that is a negative. So this is the sign convention we will use. Next, another one is that when we use this refraction to the spherical surface, there are some assumptions we are using. Here, what are the assumptions? Here, when we draw the ray diagram, when we discuss this refraction on the spherical surface, here always we consider the object is a point object. Here we consider the object is a point object, or we will take the object not an extended, you can say the point object. Here, then the aperture of means the assumptions, that is most important. Take these assumptions. When we are discussing these assumptions, the object is a point object. Number 2, the aperture is very small. The aperture of the refracting surface is very small. That is number 2. Number 3 is the angle. That is most importantly, the angle made by incident ray. Next, there is a refracted ray, because it is a refraction. So there is a refracted ray. The angle made by incident ray, refracted ray with the principal axis, is small. The angle made by the incident ray, refracted ray with the principal axis is small. So that if the angles are small, so that if you take sine, so that sine or tan of these angles, sine or tan of these angles is equal to the angle, itself. That is most importantly, why I consider like that? The angle made by the incident ray, refracted ray with the principal axis is small, so that if the angles are small, then you can take sine theta. If the angle made by the incident ray with the principal axis, suppose theta or I, sine I, you can say that is equal to the angle itself, that is your I. Similarly, tan I, you can take this as a I. Or if it makes an angle beta, sine beta is equal to beta, tan beta is equal to beta, you can say the angle itself. That is the importance of taking this hard assumption. Okay. So with these assumptions, now we will derive the cases of refraction through a convex refracting surface. Now we go to the next is the refraction through a convex refracting surface. First, here through a convex refracting surface. Refraction from a convex refracting surface. Here the first case. Here I will discuss 4 cases. From the convex refracting surface means I will take the refracting surface is convex from radar side. Then the first case I will discuss here is the object. The object lies, what type of object? According to assumption, it is a point object. The object lies in the radar medium. Object lies in the radar medium, and the image form is real. image form is real. This is the case. Object lies in the error medium and the image form is real. That we will discuss the case 1. And the diffraction occurs through the convex refracting surface. Now you draw the ray diagram. Once you draw the ray diagram, in all the 6 cases, it is not so difficult that, first thing is that, it is not so difficult that how to remember this thing, I will tell you the last. But when you draw the ray diagram, if you draw the ray diagram, 50% work is over. So first you draw the ray diagram. So first I will take a convex refracting surface like this. This is the convex refracting surface, and this is the convex refracting surface. So naturally this side is your denser medium. Denser. It is a denser medium of refractive index. Suppose I will take mu2, and this side is your error medium, and of refractive index is mu1. The refractive index is mu. First I will take that is the convex refracting surface. From the error side, it looks what? Convex. So it is a convex refracting. Now here, this is the center is the 4, so I will mark the 4 as P. Here this is the 4, right? And here this is the center. This is the principal axis. Let me draw the principal axis. This is the principal axis. Let this one is the center of curvature. C is the center of curvature. Here, and the next one is the P to C, that distance is your radius of curvature. And what is the aperture? This is the aperture. This is the aperture. Right? Now, let the ray is in the object lies in the error medium. Let this is the object O is in the error medium. And P to O, pole to object, that is called as your object distance U. The object at a distance U from the pole in the error side. So object lies in the error medium, first part is over, and the image form is real. Now you cross the ray diagram. Draw the ray diagram. First what you do when you draw the ray diagram, as you know, if a line passing through the center of curvature, and if you draw like this, passing through the center of curvature, this line on the refracting surface, this is always normal to the refracting surface. This is always normal to the refracting surface. That is first point. The line to the center of curvature, and it is on the refracting surface. It is always perpendicular. So you can say this is a normal to this refracting surface. First you draw the normal. Now let the object is in the medium, in the error medium. If this is an incident ray, this is the incident ray. OA is an incident ray which incident on the convex refracting surface at the normal at the point of incidence. Right? And what is the incident angle? The angle between the incident ray and the normal, that is I, that is the angle of incidence. Now the ray is traveling from rarer to denser. If there is no refraction, then what is the path of this one? According to rectilinear propagation of light, the ray, according to ray of light, the ray should travel like this if there is no refraction. But because of refraction, the ray is traveling from rarer to denser. The ray bends towards the normal. The ray bends towards the normal. Then what the path it will? It will in between. This is the normal and this is the actual path of the incident ray. Then it bends towards the normal, means the ray will bend like this, and this is the refracted ray. I can show by the arrow line. And normal to this angle is your R, that is the refracting angle. Here, so this is the refracting. Now here see, object lies in the error medium, that is the first ray. Then to trace or to find the image, at least in refraction in optics, to get the image of an object, at least we need 2 incident rays and 2 refract. According to 2 incident rays, there should be 2 refracted rays. Let us just simple another from the point object. Let us take a ray OP, which pass along the principal axis and incident at the pole. So it is a normal. the ray is incident normal. So this is also a normal. So from the center of curvature to the P, it is a line passing from center to P, so it is a normal, so it is perpendicular. What is the angle of incidence? 0. So the ray will go undeviated. So the ray will go undeviated like this. Okay. So this is the analogy. Means we can say that total is that OA and OP are the two incident rays from the object after refraction. They meet at the point I. And they actually meet at the point I. So I is the, which type of image? I is the real image of the object. And as it will be considered here, let the object ray, incident ray, makes an angle alpha with the principal axis, and the image ray or the refracted ray makes an angle beta with the principal axis. And this alpha beta are very small. Incident ray, refracted ray makes small angle with the principal axis, already we have considered in the assumption. And let the normal makes an angle gamma, gamma with the principal axis. That way, right? And let us consider. So this is the aperture part. Next, let us consider a normal from A on the principal axis, which is at N. A normal from A which meet at the principal axis at the point N. So A is a normal to the principal axis. And for very small aperture, we always remember this P is very close to N. For small aperture, P is very close to N. That we will always consider here. So this is the ray diagram and the image form. So according to this ray diagram, object lies in the rarer medium, image form is real. Now go for the derivation part. When you go for the derivation part, first you take always all the derivations are same for all the 6 cases. Once you draw the ray diagram, as I have already told that it is 50% is over. Right. Next part is the, now we write the mathematical form. First you write, in this case, the area, there is a triangle. Now we take a triangle like this. A in the triangle, where the incident ray is there, in the triangle AOC, there is an external angle which involves the incident ray. So incident angle I is equal to, the external angle I is equal to alpha plus gamma. External angle equal to 2 interior angle. And the equation number 1. Number 2, in that triangle, AIC, in that triangle, next is your AIC. It consists of object, here this image, AIC. In the triangle AIC, gamma, external angle gamma is equal to R, angle of refraction, plus beta, or R is equal to gamma minus beta. This is equation 2. See what I am finding first? First I draw the ray diagram. Next I will go for angle of incidence and angle of refraction. Why? Now I am using the Snell's law. According to Snell's law, what is Snell's law? The refractive index of which medium? Second, because the refractive index refers to the second medium, means denser medium, mu2. So refractive index of 2 with respect to 1 is equal to sine of angle of incidence by sine of angle of refraction. Because here we know what? I and R. So I have taken this as in terms of I and R, the equation 1 and 2. Or you can write this is equal to mu2 absolute refractive index, second medium denser, by mu1. Now you cross multiply this one, you will get, or I can write like here. For small angles of I and R, for small angles of I and R. Sin I is equal to the angle itself. Sin R is the angle itself R. So put here mu2 by mu1 absolute refractingness of denser by absolute refractingness of mirror is equal to sin I by sin R. Here I can take this as I by R. Now what is your I in R? Put that I in R. This I in R is I is equal to alpha plus gamma divided by R is what? Gamma minus beta. Here. So after finding I and R, then I use the Snell's law. For small angles, I make this sin theta is equal to theta. So I get I is equal to I and R, and this is the next distance. Then here again what I will do next is do the cross multiplication. So when you do that cross multiplication, mu2 gamma minus beta is equal to mu1 alpha plus gamma. And mu2 gamma minus mu2 beta is equal to mu1 alpha plus mu1 gamma. Then take the gamma common. Gamma is take common. Mu2, there is another gamma here. Mu2 minus mu1. Mu2 minus mu1 is equal to mu1 alpha plus mu2 beta. Let this equation number, put the equation number that is very clear. Here, so gamma is equal to gamma mu2 minus mu1. Here, gamma mu2 minus mu1 is equal to mu1 alpha plus mu2 beta. This is equation number 3. Now we go for alpha, beta and gamma. How we find this alpha, beta, gamma? Same thing here. First, in that triangle, now see, there is a right angle triangle, you can say this is a normal, so it is like A and O. In that triangle, right angle triangle A and O. In A and O, what is tan alpha? Tan alpha is equal to AN by NO. AN by NO. AN by NO. In that triangle, IAN, right? Or AIN, ANI. Again, is writing here tan beta is equal to AN by NI. AN by NI. Next, in that triangle, ANC, tan gamma is equal to AN by NC. AN by NC. Here, tan alpha, tan beta, and tan gamma. We have this tan alpha, tan beta, and tan gamma from the three right angle triangle. Next, for small angles of alpha, beta, gamma, as in assumption, the incident ray and refracted ray make small angle with the principal axis. So for small angles of alpha, beta, gamma, tan alpha equal to alpha, tan beta equal to beta, tan gamma equal to gamma. And for small angles and also for small aperture, right? So this is the equation is required here. So this is the equation. Now this 3 is required. So I give this 3, and now I write here for small angles of alpha, beta, gamma, and for small aperture. I will do the two assumptions at the same time. For small angles of alpha, beta, gamma, and for small aperture, and is close to P. N is close to P. They are not separated. N is close to P. So I have used the two assumptions in the same time. So I will get tan alpha. I can write tan alpha is equal to alpha, which is equal to your what? A by NO. So AN. I can say this is your AP. N is close to P. So in the place of N, I can put this P. AP by PO, number 1. Similarly here also tan beta for small angle beta which is equal to n is close to P, so I can take AP divided by Ni means Pi. Similarly tan gamma is equal to gamma which is equal to AP divided by PC. Now put this equation, all this as a 4, putting equation 4 in equation 3, putting equation 4 in equation 3, putting equations 4 in equation 3. Now what do we get? This equal to gamma AP divided by PC into mu2 minus mu1 here, the equation 3. So let me get this one, AP by PC mu2 minus mu1 here, then again this equal to mu1, what is alpha? AP divided by PO, so mu1 alpha, then next plus mu2 beta, mu2 what is beta? AP by Pi, AP by Pi here. So this is your equation number 9. Now AP, take this AP common, so we will cancel this one. mu2 minus mu1 by PC is equal to mu1 by PO plus mu2 by Pi. Okay, so let this is equation number 5. You got the relation in terms of what? Object distance, image distance, and radius of curvature. So that relation we want to derive in the refraction through a spherical surface. So again another thing is that when we use these distances in optics, they should use the sign convention. So now we use the sign convention. Using sign convention, object distance PO, pole to object PO, object distance, light incident on this side from left to right. You are measuring from pole towards object. You are measuring opposite to the light incident. So I will take this as minus U. Pi, image distance, pole to one, image distance. Light incident from left to right. You are measuring from left to right along the direction of light incident. Because all the distances should measure from the pole. So I have to measure from P to I. So I can put this as plus B. Because it is along the direction of light incident. Next, PC, and PC is equal to P to C. It is along the direction of light incident, so this is plus R, radius of curvature. Here, now use this in the equation 5. So now in equation 5, from equation 5, mu2 minus mu1 divided by PC R is equal to mu1 minus by PO minus U plus mu2 by B. Here, so we will get this one, mu1 by minus U minus mu1 by U plus mu2 by B is equal to mu2 minus mu1 by R. This relation which relates object distance, image distance, and radius of curvature for diffraction at convex surface. Object lies in the real medium, image form is here. Here, next case is the number case 2. Then remember this formula. This formula is very important. Remember this formula. Then we will relate, after derivation of all the 6 cases, then we will relate all these things. Okay? So now go to the second one. Here, in the second case, the diffraction at convex surface, that is case 2, diffraction at convex surface, but The object lies in the mirror. Object lies in the mirror, that is also true. But the image form is virtual. How? So do the same, see the same play diagram in the first case. What happens here you see? Now, if I will take the object closer to the pole, if the object comes closer and closer to the pole, the angle of incidence goes on. If it comes closer and closer, the incident angle goes on increasing. If I goes on increasing, R also goes on increasing. So there is a chances that the R goes on increasing means the refracted ray may not bend toward the prismal axis. This may be the refracted ray. This may be the refracted ray. So if this is the refracted ray, if this is the same thing here, this is the refracted ray. This is the incident ray, and think that this incident ray is very large. So this will be the refracted ray. The ray bends toward the normal. That is true. But it bends toward the normal, traveling from radar to tensor of refractive index mu1. But the thing is that here the incident angle is larger, so the refracted angle is larger. So this is one refracted ray OA, refracted along this. Now another refracted ray, another incident ray OP, it goes along this direction. So OP after diffraction goes along PC. These are the two refracted rays from A and from P. These two refracted rays will never meet on this side. It goes on diverging. So they appears to meet at a point like this. We can show they appears to meet like this at a point. Okay? So they appears to meet at a point like this, and this is the ray, and this is the appears to meet, or this two rays appears to come from the point I. So here I is the angle of, I is the image position, and the same concept here. I alpha is the angle made by the object, here beta is the angle made by the image, here, and R is the angle, so gamma is the angle made by the normal. Here all things are same. Here. Now, in this part again, we will find out. Here what is that? Object, case 2. Object lies in the error medium, and image form. Image form is virtual. That's the difference from case 1. That the image form is real, it is a virtual. Okay? Here the image form is a virtual. Now again we will do the same thing. All the angles are made here. Now we go for the same procedure. Find an angle of incident expression for I and R. Take that angle AOC or AO in the triangle. In that triangle AOC, in that triangle AOC, I is equal to X angle AOC, I is equal to alpha plus gamma. In that triangle AIC, same meaning AIC, in the triangle AIC, R is the X angle AIC, R is the X angle. So R is equal to beta plus gamma, beta plus gamma. Then after taking I and R, use the Snell's law. According to Snell's law, sin I by sin R, angle of incidence by angle of refraction is equal to refracting index of second with respect to first, denser with respect to radar, because the ray is traveling from radar to denser. Or I can write this is equal to mu2 divided by mu1. mu2 divided by mu1. For small angle I and R, for small angles of, I am not writing details, small angles of I and R, already we write this thing. we can put here. That is your I by R is equal to mu2 by mu1, or this implies mu1 I is equal to mu2 R. Now you put this I and R. Put this I and R. mu2, right? This is the S. mu1 I is alpha plus gamma plus is equal to mu1 I is equal to mu2 R beta plus gamma. Beta plus gamma. Clear? Next part is what? Then we will go for rearrangement. This take the mu to one side, mu1 other side. mu1 alpha plus mu1 gamma is equal to mu2 beta plus mu2 gamma. Right? Take the gamma on one side. mu1 minus mu2 into gamma is equal to mu2 beta minus mu1 alpha. Take gamma one side, mu1 minus mu2 gamma is equal to mu2 beta minus mu1 alpha. Then go for the alpha beta and gamma. Do the same triangle. In the triangle, in the right angle triangle, AOC. Sorry, AON. Tan alpha, which is the small angle alpha, that equal to AN by NO. AN by NO. Tan beta in the triangle. But this is I. AIN. Tan beta, that equal to beta, which is equal to AN by NI. In the triangle, ACN, then gamma is equal to gamma, which is equal to AN by NC. AN by NC. Clear? And for small aperture, we can take n is close to P. For small aperture, we can take n is close to P. Right? I can write for small aperture, n is close to P. So for small aperture n is close to P, so I can write alpha is equal to AP by PO, beta is equal to AP by PI, gamma is equal to AP by PC. Put that alpha beta gamma. Go to this equation. The same thing, same procedure. mu1 minus mu2 into gamma. AP by PC is equal to mu2 beta AP by PI minus mu1 alpha AP by PO. Clear? Now AP cancel, so you can get mu1 minus mu2 by PC is equal to mu2 by PI minus mu1 by PO. Use the sign convention. Using sign convention, PC, P to C plus R, PO object minus U, PI image minus D. Here the image is this side, opposite the light incident. So PI is equal to minus D. Now you put this in this part. What do you get? mu1 minus mu2 divided by PC R is equal to mu2 PI minus D plus mu1 by PO minus U minus plus So minus minus plus, this minus actually. Minus minus plus. Or I can write this as minus mu1 by u plus mu2 by v. This side, that minus. So this is equal to mu2 minus mu1 by r. Okay. So what is the meaning of writing this one? If you compare or you remember or recall the first case, you got the same relation, minus mu1 by u plus mu2 by v is equal to mu2 minus mu1. Means in both the cases, for convex surface, if the object lies in the rarer medium, whether the image is real or virtual, the relation is same for object, image, and the relation is same for object distance, image distance, and the radius of curvature. Here. Now, let me use another board. In the last, that board is not clear. Let me use this board. Now we will go to the case 3. Here, what I will consider here, that the case 3 is the refraction at convex surface, but object lies in the denser medium. Image form is a real image. So case 3 is your object lies in the denser medium and image form is real. Okay. So in this part, object lies in the denser medium and image form is real on the same convex surface, and it is convex from the rarer side. To do that, what I can, how we will draw the ray diagram? How? Let me show the ray diagram. Object lies in the denser medium, and remember here I will make a twist that object, I will place the object on the left side. It is easier for me to use the sign convention. Means the rays should travel from left to right. I will make like that. Next, to do that, it is a convex surface, refraction through a convex surface. We are discussing about convex surface. So let me show like this. Convex surface, clear? So this is a convex surface, and this is the error of refract index mu1, denser is refract index mu2. Let me make it large. Okay. So mu2 and mu1. Clear? Next. This is the principal axis, this is the pole. Here the object lies. Okay, let me draw the center of curvature here. This is the center of curvature. And draw a perpendicular on the refracting surface, so it will pass through the perpendicular on the refracting surface, convex surface, we will pass through the center of curvature. This is a normal to this surface. Let the object O be the position of the object, and PC is your R, the radius of curvature, and PO is the object distance. Two rays from O, one is along OP, it goes undeviated. Another ray OA, incinerator A. If there is no refraction, this will be the actual path. This will be the actual path. Here, but because of refraction, the ray is traveling from denser to rarer. The ray is traveling from denser to rarer. To make this object in the denser, I am changing the positions. Right? The convex surface is from rarer side. I take this rarer this side and denser is this side. But in the previous two cases, the object in radar, so I make this mu on this side, so the convex surface is on this side. Here the convex surface is from this side, from the radar side. Now, this is the object. O, it gives two rays, OA, OP. Now you see, as the refraction occurs, after this refraction, O, the ray is traveling from density to radar, so it will bend away from the normal. So the ray will bend away from the normal. Means the ray will bend away from the normal, means this is the actual path of the incident ray, this is the normal, away from these two, means the ray will bend like this. Let me show like this. This is the ray bends like this, and OP, OA after refraction meet at the point, let that is your I, which is the real image of an object in the denser medium. Clear? Now you put the name like this, and obviously draw a perpendicular AN, and P2I is the image distance B. O makes an angle alpha, C makes an angle gamma, I, the ray coming from I, makes an angle beta. Clear? And what is incident angle? So the incident angle more important. Object, this is the normal, this is the angle of incidence I. Here, angle of refraction, this is the normal, this angle R, this red line, red dotted line, this is the normal, and this angle is your R, angle of refraction R. Now you derive the case. Okay. Now in the triangle AOC, which is the extent gamma. Gamma is equal to alpha plus I. This implies I is equal to gamma minus alpha. Gamma minus alpha. In the triangle AIC, which is the action here, AIC, R is equal to gamma plus beta. Gamma plus beta. I got the relation for I and R. Clear? Gamma plus beta. Clear? Now use the Snell's law. Using Snell's law, or according to Snell's law, that is most important here. We see sin I by sin R is equal to what? The ray is traveling from mu2, absolute refractive index of denser medium mu2, to mu1, incident ray, refracted ray. So I will write refractive index of which one? Mu1 with respect to 2. Mu1 with respect to 2. If I will write that in terms of absolute, means if I write absolute, mu1 divided by mu2. That is most important. That is the change here. After doing that, then all the procedure are same. So remember this thing. Object is in denser, so it should be mu refractive index of 1 with respect to 2. So for small angles of I and R, small angles of I and R. What is that? Sin I is equal to I and sin R is equal to R. So I by R is equal to mu1 by mu2, or mu2 into I is equal to mu1 into R. Mu2 into I. What is this I? Gamma minus alpha is equal to mu1. What is R? Gamma plus beta. Clear? Now you rearrange this thing. Right here. Take this gamma one side, mu2. Clear? Sorry, gamma common, take gamma common. Mu2, this is gamma. Mu2 minus mu1, gamma of mu2 minus mu1 is equal to mu1 beta plus mu2 alpha. Yes or no? Gamma mu2 minus mu1 is equal to mu1 beta plus mu 2 alpha. Here, next part is what? Next is find this alpha, beta, gamma. In the right angle triangle, do the same procedure. In the right angle triangle, what? In the right angle triangle, in the right angle triangle, A O N this is a perpendicular. Tan alpha is equal to an by NO. In the right angle triangle, in the triangle AIN tan beta is equal to AN by NI. In the triangle ACN tan gamma. See the red diagram, tan gamma AN by NC. For small angles of alpha, beta, gamma, tan alpha is equal to alpha, which is equal to AN by NO. Tan beta is equal to beta, which is equal to AN by NI. Tan gamma is equal to gamma AN by NC. Here we got alpha, beta, gamma. Another assumption is that for small apertures, what is that second one? For small aperture, N is close to P. So in place of N, we can take P. So alpha, I will write this as AP by PO, beta AP by PI, gamma AP by PC. With these two assumptions, small angles of alpha, beta, gamma, and N is close to P. With this, put that in your expression of this. Gamma means what? AP by PC into mu 2 minus mu 1 is equal to mu 1 beta AP by PI plus mu 2 AP by PO, object alpha, object distance. Here using sign convention. Okay, take this AP common, so we get mu 2 minus mu 1 by PC is equal to mu 1 by PO, sorry, mu 2 or mu 1 by PO plus mu 2 PI by mu 2 by PO. Using sign convention, PC is equal to PC. Light is inside this side. We are measuring opposite, minus R. PO minus U, object distance minus U. I am always taking the object distance minus U. That's why you are doing the case like this. The convex surface, I have changed the convex surface from the two cases, 1 and 2. This is different. It is convex on this side, but on the other first two cases, it is convex on this side. PI is equal to B plus B. It is along the direction of light incident. PI, and light is incident like this. So mu 2 minus mu 1 divided by PC minus R is equal to mu 1 divided by PI D plus mu 2 divided by minus U. Now I rearrange this thing and write like this as mu 2 by minus U plus mu 1 by B is equal to mu 1 minus mu 2 divided by R. Multiply this minus. So this is the relation what I got if the object lies in the denser medium and it is different from the previous two cases where the object lies in the rarer medium. So here the object changes to densely medium. That's why you got a mu2. Object is in denser, mu2 by v minus u. Object is negative. Then the rest is, you can write the rest plus, then it is mu2 plus mu1, then the image whatever may be the position by v plus mu1 minus, it is minus mu2, so minus mu2 by r. That the relation. After completion of all the 6, I will tell you all the 6 combined together, you will get only 2 different relations for object distance in rarer and object distance in when the object is in rarer and the object is in denser. That what is the difference? Clear? So here also you can use this relation in this case. If suppose it is given this medium is air medium, then you will take mu1 is what? Absolute difference of in the air medium 1, and this is suppose mu. So mu by minus u plus 1 by v is equal to 1 minus mu by r. We will use like this for air medium if the question is there. So you will use this formula. Okay. Next, in the next video, we will discuss the other 3. One are from convex surface and the other 2 are from concave surface. And then in the concave surface, we will discuss about only for in concave refracting surface, the image is always virtual, so no need to take for real image. For real image is not there, so that's why there we will discuss only 2 cases. Object lies in rarer, object lies in a denser for concave, and 1 case from convex. Okay, in that way we will discuss all the 6, and each one is a long question. Okay, go through the video, and remember while discussing that you draw this ray diagram on your notebook so that you can understand the thing. Okay, and the procedure is same for all. Writing is same for all. Only the change is alpha, beta, gamma, where mu1 and mu2 are changing. Okay, thank you.